Afternoon. Right. I have been inundated with messages regarding that Athletics Weekly piece yesterday, or the last couple of days. So where have all the races gone? I have been banging on about this for the last 7 years as to what's happened to sport. And I'm going to go through this, and this will be the last time I'm going to go through it, because people are asking about UK, they're asking about what's happening with the races, why are they gone, blah, 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 and so on. Right, and the very people involved. I'm going to be calling out a lot of people in this vlog. First of all, everything you're looking at, a lot of it is coming from central government. So you only have to look what's going on in Britain, in Ireland, in France, and all around the world. Digital ID, hate speech bill, climate, all just baloney, the whole lot of it. But we have Muppets leading us and people that have bought off. Anyway, this thing that came out yesterday regarding where have all the races gone. I have been on about this for years. And it's been a denuding of everything that's gone on. A lot of clubs are struggling to get members in terms of running committees and so on. And a lot of those people now that are coming in are coming from Fit for Life, Couch to 5K, or Parkrun. And that's their mentality. It's not real athletics. And I was speaking to a woman yesterday, and she was on about, that Olympic champion. She couldn't even think of her name over the 800 metres. And she was on about Keely Hodgkinson. But that's the only person she could talk about or could mention. She can't mention anybody else. And for the amount of people that's involved in athletics, there's not many I could mention myself. Whereas if you go back to the late 80s and early 90s, you had so many people. You had Steve Backley, Chris Akabusi, you had Sally Gunner, you had Linford Christie, you had Tim Hutchins, you had Jack Buckner, you had Steve Cram, you had Sebastian Coe, you had Steve Ovett. We could go on all day, Kirsty Wade. And it would go on and on and on with Tessa Sanderson, with Fatima Whitbread. So you're talking about events, you got to talk about events. Simple as that. Adobo, you could go on. There was people that you could mention in all different aspects of the sport going back in the day. But I'm going to predominantly stick to what I know about, which is middle distance, long distance, cross country, road, and so on. Unless now, at the part where there's one guy trying to do something right with another company, a guy called Chris Parr, and Chris is trying to open up opportunities for people over 5k, 5 miles, 10k, 10 miles, half marathon stuff, and trying to give decent prize money and stuff like that. And at least he's tried to do something. Because a lot of these events that if you try to go to now, you have to be into 6 or 7 months in advance. To which you don't know if you're going to be there in 6 or 7 months because you could be injured. And the entry fees are quite astronomical. And for some of them you can transfer, but a lot of them you can't. So you're losing out on money. But here's the kicker. What everybody wants to understand about UK is why have they mismanaged and everything. UKA, quite rightly, should have been as the UK management company for athletics. They were the management company. That's why you can't get a freedom of information from them, because they're a limited company. Basically, they would put on track events and indoor events, outdoors and indoors, to raise money to pay the athletes and pay the federation to organise those meetings. The likes of Joe Coates coming along and giving away one of the Diamond Leagues for 12,000 Swiss francs when it was worth over 1.5 million. Is a deliberate ploy to destroy the sport and the way it's gone. And with the accusations coming in on everything on hearsay, which is a different subject which I've spoken about before, but you've got to look at the mindset as to what they were doing. The likes of UK should have been putting on road races, but people that were in London Marathon and other events were sat onto the board of UK to block that from happening because they didn't want races organised within UK athletics being stronger than the likes of London Marathon and outdoing them and manoeuvring them out of the way. So London Marathon used to put on events, would put on the London Marathon, and the clubs could compete in it in the national marathon. But they would only give 70 grand a year to the likes of England Athletics, when it should have been 700 grand. So you've got to look at what's happened with the money. The money that they've gotten in UK, they've gone for the easy drink at the fountain, which is just the lottery. And for me, Sport Ireland, Sport England, UK Sport, all these fucking federations, Sport France, have destroyed the sport. France is broke. Their federation is absolutely penniless. And the only thing that's keeping them going is in NGOs, private NGOs in the background. And it's the same with UK Athletics, because they should be gone by now. Especially when the Paralympic case hasn't still been thrown up. And if that's still ongoing and they're trying to get some sort of resolution to it, it must be bad, because they must be getting really cocky as to how much money they have to pay out. But anyway, people were put on the board of UKA to block any road races being put on. Now think about it. Road races are the easiest place to go to make money, to bring it in, to fund the sport to go forward. And yet it never happened. That was deliberate. And there was, you can think about who the people on that board, they were all put onto it to block it. Bowker was put on there. Bedford was put on there. They were put on there, and it was to block, because they didn't want an event becoming more successful than the London Marathon or any other events that would be on. The Great Run Series, they didn't want that. And they would give very, very little. You have to look at the money that was being handed over from North of England, Midlands, South of England, over to England Athletics, and then what was going back into competition and development. It wasn't going back in. What used to be over, let's say, 750,000 coming from the North of England and gone over, all of a sudden now, and they were getting back 350 grand to competition development, that then all just kept going down and down and down to the likes of 19 grand. And it's why the likes of North of England brought in a £2 levy to be able to put on events and keep them. Somebody was asking about the inter-counties. I think it was Tim Werrett. Well, the problem with this, Tim, is this is what happened. A good few years ago, I knew, and I have all the documentation of this. I have letters from the secretary that was going out to all the members of the County Athletic Union. Is it time to disband? Because we've no money, we've no funding, and we've no sponsorship coming in to have the British inter-counties go forward. I have all those documents and stuff like that. And I even got a private email from someone, and what you want. So basically, I and Simon Pryor decided to do a GoFundMe page, which we did, and we raised £4,000. Now, we could have raised way more than that. But what happened was Cliff Robinson had an interview with Jason Henderson of Athletics Weekly, saying everything's rosy, everything's beautiful, everything's wonderful, when now the British Inter-Counties has no pathway. The English National has no pathway, because Tim, you were on about it could be rebooted. It could be rebooted, and the way to reboot it would be to have the European Championships move from where it is. Because Ireland were very successful this year. Great. Now, they've been throwing eggs at that wall for a long time, and they ended up having a great time, and it's in senior men, and they've had success. Where's the races for those youngsters to go to cash in on their excellent performances at the European Championships? Not there. They're gone. I put up a little post this morning of a couple of races that I used to run in France and Belgium. And I could just name some of them. Avabode is gone. Ninove is gone. Ghent is gone. France, across the, the Le Mans West is gone. Bolbeck is gone, Plessy Robinson's gone, Jeef is gone, Percy is gone. It's just a tsunami of races gone. And they're gone because they got sick of the Africans. It's as simple as that. There's some left. A lot of races gone in Spain, a lot of races gone in, in Italy. There used to be Volpiano, that's gone. There used to be one down in Cagliari, that's gone. I think Campaccio is still there and Cencamellini is still there. But on the whole, what's happened is it got squeezed down in. And if you go to a lot of these events, now it's a lot of the East Africans running, which we all know by now, they're all fucking on the juice, the majority of them, and they're fucking cheating left, right and centre. We're sick of them, sorry. And even the Entry Integrity Unit has come out and said it's stalled in terms of trying to catch these cheats because it hasn't got it. And it's going on everywhere. It's going on, there's America, Australia, Ireland, there's people doing stuff. It's as simple as that. But grassroots has got absolutely levelled out. Your county championships one time was your pathway to making the team to go to the inter-counties, the British inter-counties, and then there was teams selected off that to go to races abroad. And even if you didn't make an England team, you made a North of England team, a Midlands team, or a South of England team. They've all dried up and they've all gone. The pathway is absolutely ruined. I wouldn't be even targeting the World Cross Country anymore. I wouldn't be going there because it's just a waste of fucking time with what's going on with the Africans. And it's coming out every week, this failed, this time is done, that one is done. You've all seen it. I would be focusing on grassroots. But it's not just grassroots in terms of athletics, it's grassroots in soccer, plus Peter Crouch is on about the same thing. It's grassroots in cycling, where all the main, there would be certain events that would be high profile at the amateur level, they're all gone. Eventing, same thing. So this is not just about athletics, it's about all of them. But the problem is we have people inside in the federation who aren't even standing up for us. Nobody stood up to say why all these distances being denuded and cut down in terms of distance. We used to have a 9 miles cross country, gone. Still in the southern of England yet, but in most places there was. Then it went down to 12k to 10k, 9k, now it's 7.5. Like soon enough we'll be running a 5k European cross country championships the way it's gone. Seems to be no say for the people that's involved in the sport and the platform of the sport. The biggest problem you have is the people that's leading the sport. You have Athletics Weekly there, who are now starting around, where have all the races gone? You have to be some of the thickest assholes I've ever fucking had seen in my life and had to deal with. I pointed this out for the last 7 years. You've known of it, but you've chosen to ignore it till it's now staring you straight in the face. And the reason you're saying it probably is because you don't get invited to these races anymore where you were sitting at the top table. I remember challenging the likes of Jason Henderson and asking, well, who do you fund? Who do you sponsor? Who have you tried to coach to get to senior level? Who have you invested in? Have you paid for somebody to go on a trip abroad to run in a race to try and get a qualifying time? No. You're at the top table all the time, getting paid to write about it and watching it go down the shitter. You're an absolute fucking joke, a lot of you. You have no time for you. You know what to do with this sport. I would be moving the European Championships from fucking December. I'd be moving out to February. I'd be making our English national. And I would be going, fuck the British team. I would be going Scotland, England, and Wales. And I'd be getting all the, and I'd be making it. And then you'd have a cross-country season because the races would have to come back in terms of having a cross-country season to go in. Outside of these races, very few of these people that run the European cross-country championships are actually have raced abroad. I ran in Luxembourg, I ran in Holland, I ran in Germany, I ran in Italy, I ran in France, I ran in Spain, I ran in Belgium. I was absolutely blessed with where I got to compete in. There was races in Chiba in Japan. There was races in Kenya even, funny enough, which I wouldn't go to because you'd be racing at altitude. But they were there. Die Kirche in Luxembourg, gone. You know, the amount of races I say that in France have gone by the wayside, like Costa Valvic is gone. There's just massive, massive. And what we've been left with now is we've been left with parkrun or mass participation races. And you have to get into these mass participation races is absolutely fucking incredible. But they're paying in terms of registration, to be registered with England Athletics, getting the money. And all you're getting from England Athletics is that registration number to be able to compete in the national championship. That's it. You get nothing else. So anybody saying to me, what's happened to sport? I don't understand it. Or why aren't UK Athletics doing this? Or why aren't the County Athletic Union that? Comes down to one thing. Leadership. Absolutely. If you've got Muppets, you're going to get the Muppet Show. It's as simple as that. You know, when we raised the money a few years ago, myself and Simon, we had Arwell Williams hounding us for the money. Oh, we're going to do stuff for this. Now, I had loads more ideas. Simon had loads more ideas. We were told we'd be put onto a subcommittee. Never happened. But why? We're a fucking threat. It's as simple as that. Because we know the sport. We understand it. The amount of police officers I see inside in clubs, associations, federations and organisations is off the charts. And they know fuck all about fuck all, but they're there. And they get rewarded for going to this, that and the other thing. Now, I'll probably do them all a disservice. There's probably a few genuine ones in there that do a lot of good and do a lot of fucking good stuff for the sport. But the majority of them, no. From what I've seen, no way. And you can try and dissuade me and persuade me to say, I know this guy and that guy. I don't care. I'm watching what the people I've seen in the positions they're in. They're fucking useless. That's it. This is the last time I'm talking about it. You should be up to speed now and understanding who's blocked what, why money wasn't earned here, why grassroots has been stopped, why it's not no pathway, especially for youngsters, why health and safety have killed a lot of the events. It's muddy today, you can't run that muddy field. Oh my God, your shoes might come off and you might land in your socks and get your socks muddy. Stop. We have no say in the sport now at all, and we have leaders who are not trying to protect us from the East Africans who are cheating left, right and centre. We have nobody speaking up to us in terms of the distance being cut. With the equal opportunity crowd saying, hey, if you can run 15k, we have to run 15k. All this bullshit. They've destroyed the sport. It's about getting real leaders in, getting somebody in a position, getting out the people that's there like Chris Jones and Gary O'Shaughnessy at England Athletics, getting out the likes of Jack Buckner and Ian Beattie at fucking UK Athletics because they're absolutely shite, and making it better for the rest of us. Anybody disagrees, that's fine, you're entitled to your opinion. It nullifies out with mine. Last post ever on what's happening, and I've been pointing out for the last 7 years. I warned you what was coming. I told you it was going to be destroyed. Same thing happened in the track. When the counties went to put on the county championships and the British Athletics said, no, we're going to put on the fucking leagues. Basically, the officials turned around and said, no, we'll do the counties because we've always done it that way. Then I said, there's a two-pronged attack. What came on? They brought on track mark, which meant the tracks that were going to be holding the county championships were going to be deemed inoperable, unsustainable, dangerous to use, and They were going to force the BL things in, and the county champs had to take a back seat. Everything has been about the destruction of our sport. Everything by these people. Do not be dissuaded it's anything else. Sorry about the length of this post. Had to get it all in there. All the best for the year. There's bigger things going on in our lives, I know, but this is our escape, and they're even killing our escape. God bless everybody and take care, and God bless.